7 races to go and just 2 points separate Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg. But since the summer break, it's all been about the German.
Well, it's Nico Rosberg on pole then. Verstappen goes down the inside on Raikkonen, and it's a chain reaction. Sebastian Vettel stranded. Nico Rosberg, he wins in Spa for the first time. Lights out, and away we go. Hamilton's had a poor start here.
His reaction to the lights, Hamilton was fine. Then he just went nowhere.
Nico Rosberg is in a land of his own. It's Nico Rosberg to win the Italian Grand Prix.
8 minutes to midnight it is here in Singapore. Paul di Resta and I will continue, as the rest of the paddock do, to live like vampires for this Singapore Grand Prix weekend. Today, what we're saying there, we just saw evidence of it. Spa and Monza, Nico Rosberg, everything in his favour, and again today in both sessions.
It's all moving along very swiftly, isn't it? The last 2 Grand Prix have been a bit difficult for Hamilton, obviously with a grid penalty in Spa, following with a start in Monza. He did have the quickest car in Monza, he did qualify well, but you know, if Hamilton's on the back foot, we're missing, you know, a lot of that session in FP2, the long run data, how he's going to use his tyres on Sunday. But, you know, one thing about a street track, if you can just get the edge in qualifying, you can kind of dictate the speed you want to go, and he will always get priority if he gets on pole. But it's crunch time. It's all about starts. Who's going to get the best starts, I think, because if they're on the front row, that's where the race is won and lost with these two at the moment.
OK, it didn't start terrifically for Nico Rosberg at turn 18. This we haven't had an explanation other than it was just a lock-up, but did it seem like he'd gone in rather heavy? It
was very odd, you know. It must have locked the rears mid-brakes. At that point, it's too late to back out, either turn right to go up the escape road or actually make the corner, because in a normal lap there, when you brake, your car automatically takes you to the outside because there's so little runoff. And then just during the braking zone, you can see he locked the wheels. It managed to get his hands off the steering, not to damage his thumbs or anything, but went straight in. I was a bit confused. I'm not really sure if it was just a simple lock-up or whether it was an energy recovery system that kind of caught him out. Toto said he hadn't had any confirmation of anything yet, so it could have been that, because we know
can that affect a pedal as you're halfway through a corner?
It could do if it's switched off, because the brake kind of disregards the actual brake material and it drags the back wheels to charge the battery. If that turns off, you get a sudden switch in the brake distribution, and it could go 2 to 3% more forward, and that's why you lock the front. So it was just a little bit odd. It was an uncharacteristic move for a Mercedes that's normally so nailed to the track.
Lewis Hamilton getting out of the car after P2, what we've heard again from that, they've not got to the bottom of the problem quite yet. It was just a hydraulic alert went off. I'm still a bit perplexed. Okay, yes, he's lost a lot of data collection or gathering this evening, but the way they were last year, do you think it seems, all told, they've kind of got on top of their pace issues that they had from a year ago?
It looks that way. Certainly on the harder compounds are looking really strong. They look like they can turn it on. I think Ferrari ultimately are struggling. I think you look back at it and they probably lucked into what they did last year. You know, they've probably came here to try and replicate it, but Mercedes, we know, have got a great car. The engine works well. It could be very close in qualifying, could be, but I think, like anybody, the big question mark is, can you deliver the lap you need to deliver? We saw Hamilton just missed, you know, the first sector on his first time on the quali tyre today, and that was it. It was game over. He tried for 5 times and couldn't get it back. So you have to nail it. You have to turn that tyre on quick, but more importantly, it's confidence. You have to have that feedback from the car to get yourself close to the walls, which gets you the lap time around this track.
There's a kind of bristling feeling to the paddock earlier on, because change of ownership last year, and the body language between Bernie Ecclestone and Chase Carey, who's the new man that's come in for Liberty Media underneath John Malone, and meeting the dignitaries, Niki Lauda and Donald McKenzie of CVC and Toto Wolff also, has Bernie actually cut quite a solitary figure for a while. All of the attention was on the American as he came through the paddock, as Bernie continued to watch on. The press pack had descended upon the new guy, and then towards the end, it almost allowed Mr. Ecclestone to take a bit of a tumble. Anyway, woe betide, I'm not going to grass them up, but it was Swedish TV. Their pass might go when they try to get in tomorrow through the gates. But and what have you made of it? What do you think of the ownership takeover? Do you think that it's a good thing for the sport overall?
It has lifted it. It's got a lot of attention, hasn't it? I don't necessarily see it being a bad thing. You know, I think Bernie has done a great job of where he's directed Formula 1 to. He obviously said a bit of guidance on the social media side and all that, bringing it in, make it a bit more open. But yeah, I think everybody's quietly just sitting there reserved, you know, we mustn't speak out too much. But the impressions are, I don't see anything downwards about it. I think we should only look at it up and make the sport more global. Although we visit 21 different countries already. Whether they're trying to do more, I don't know. It'd be quite hard for the staff.
Historically, Bernie's found it difficult to work with other people. Be fascinating, won't it, to see the dynamic between himself and Liberty Media. Here's what a few of your fellow drivers have to say about things.
I'm sure they will come with some new ideas, and that's very welcome, because we've been already too many years with the same rules, let's say, or the same search of making the sport a little bit more attractive. So probably new people coming from the outside, they will have clever ideas, and we will support all of them.
From what I've read, they're very interested in getting more, you know, a younger fan base, which I think it needs to happen. You know, we've got an 18-year-old racing on the grid, and I think the fan base is more sort of 30s, 40s.
I would love to see a Formula One more equalized, giving a midfield teams the chance to compete against the top teams. That will be just great for the sport, you know, to have those teams in the midfield getting close and giving them the opportunity to fight for the top. That will be amazing.
The European races we really enjoy, because there's a sort of passion from the crowd there. There's a much bigger crowd, and we go to some races, which I won't mention, but they're very sort of ghostly. When you go out the back, there's no one there. So we enjoy competing in front of fans, basically. Is what we're here to do. So cheaper entry, engaging more fans. I'm up for all that sort of thing.
I would hope for our sport to reach more of the people that love our sport, but who maybe don't necessarily tune in, you know, on specific times to sit down and watch the race, maybe in a beautiful summer's day, you know, when outside you could be doing some cool stuff.
As we all know, social media is a big thing. As drivers, we try and push the sport as much as we can. But there's so much more competition for Formula One. It's fierce, you know. There used to be 5 TV channels in the UK, and Formula One was on a weekend, on one of them, and you had 4 other choices, or you go and play outside with a football. So now there's so much you can do and so much you can get on your smartphone. So it's difficult, but I'm sure that we could get a lot of young fans still interested. I think as soon as they sink their teeth into the sport and see how technically advanced it is and exciting, they're going to stick around, because it is an awesome sport.
The 9th running of the Singapore Grand Prix, and as you can see behind me, they've christened it the true home of Formula One night racing, and here's a few stats you might want to know about it.
And here's the man that scored Force India's best ever result here with a 4th place in 2012. Paul, the Singapore Flyer looked absolutely splendid today, but it was the 4 wheels on the 22 cars that we were more interested in. A first session, not under lights and not under power for Jenson Button either. Hardly a great start for him.
Now, luckily, a little bit of support from the marshals. FIA saw sense, got that car back out for the fans.
This was a little bit of lack of common sense. The Toro Rosso didn't quite have the turning circle, and Carlos Sainz lost a bit of his wing. And people were hitting the wall all morning long.
Yeah, Sebastian Vettel, we thought was going to be the first one. He did it second. Bigger spark than the Red Bull.
Roman Grosjean didn't even get going and had to play cards while they sorted out a problem on his Haas. Once again, drivers trying to push through the penultimate corner and finding the wall in the way. Sebastian Vettel, did he have the pace to replicate his win from last year? He did early on, but Max Verstappen was the fastest man this morning, and then this happened to Nico Rosberg.
Gave the mechanics over a shorter lunch break effectively here. A bit more work to do this week.
It was a Red Bull 1-2 in the first practice session. Second practice and the lights take full effect, and it's much more akin to racing conditions, but Fernando Alonso won't be wanting to do this very often.
I think that's the most impressive save of the day, isn't it? Well, maybe Ricardo does it as well. Stays out the wall.
He stays out the wall, and Nico Rosberg on the ultra soft tyre put himself to the top of the timing chart. A handy, timely boost for the man with the momentum going into this race with 2 wins on the bounce. Here's Romain Grosjean spinning and losing his rear wing.
Yeah, exit the final corner. We saw a lot of cars out there. Just caught the Tech Pro barrier on a difficult day. Next year's wing on the Haas as well.
Not really what he wanted or what Lewis Hamilton wanted here. We've seen this in the programme already, and Simon Cole saying no chance we can get the car back out. Hamilton didn't have a good day at all.
Now, he's got a bit of work to do tomorrow. I'm sure you'll see his car running just to try and get a high fuel run, try and get a bit of tyre wear.
And right at the end of the session, gearbox issue for Fernando Alonso. So McLaren having mechanical problems to start the day and to end the day. But what went wrong with Lewis Hamilton's car? Here's head of Mercedes-Benz Motorsport, Toto Wolff.
It looks like a hydraulic leak, and we couldn't fix it to send him out again until the end of the season. And session, it should be all right for tomorrow, but of course it affects him.
This morning was a bit tricky, but the afternoon was quite decent. So you know, if you have a good feeling with the car, it makes all the difference here.
Tomorrow obviously is important. Get everything right in qualifying. Still have a little bit to go. I think we can improve from where we are, but if we get everything right, I think we have a good shot.
I'm not discouraged with the pace. I think where we are is pretty good considering. You know, where I feel we can be with the car. You know, I think there's still a lot more we can get out of it. So if we find that, then I think we'll be looking all right tomorrow. But it's close, as predicted. You know, 3 teams are all there within whatever half a second.
Well, they look pretty strong again. My second session wasn't perfect, but you know, we were still up there. So yeah, we can be happy. I mean, I think we can still improve quite a bit. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow.
We hope to hear from Lewis, but his press conference hasn't started yet, so unfortunately we can't right now. I think what we're hearing out of there is, as Crofty was saying, it is just a small hydraulic issue, and it doesn't think it's going to pose a problem for the rest of the weekend. Elsewhere today, we saw a strong performance, didn't we, from Toro Rosso in the morning, and for your old squad, Force India in the evening.
Yeah, they are looking strong. I think Toro Rosso, if they had the back-to-back on their old aero kit pre kind of summer break to what they had after, and the car's looking a bit stronger. You know, Spa and Monza technically didn't suit them, just with the low drag and how they are, but they're a team up there. We know Carlos Sainz put in some great qualifying performances before the summer break, so it'd be nice to see him back up there. He was looking quite alive today. Danny Fiat, he looked like he'd gained a bit of confidence himself. Yeah. You know, he was kind of pushing him along, so pushing those 2 guys along, I think you'll see the best out of them, and you know, hopefully before the end of the year they can try and have a bit of an in-team battle with themselves.
Okay, when we come back we'll show you what happened when our British world champion spoke to another British world champion. Welcome back. A fortnight ago in Monza, Jenson Button, the 2009 world champion, announced that next year he'll be taking a hiatus from driving in Formula One. Maybe he'll return in 2018, but he sat down yesterday with Damon Hill and discussed his plans.
I remember when you just came into F1 and we went for that bike ride. Do you remember that?
Yeah, exactly.
And you knew nothing about what was in front of you. And what have you learned? In about 5 minutes.
Exactly. That it goes by really quickly. But also, you know, since I've been an adult, I've lived Formula One. Yeah, it's not just 21 races on the calendar, is it? You know, it's everything before and after is recovery and preparation. So, yeah, it's a year away from that and living by my schedule. It's the first time I've been able to do in my adult life, which I'm really looking forward to. And then, if I race in 2018, if I feel like it, great. If the team want me to race, great. But we will see in a year's time if that is the case.
I mean, let's say we're sitting here and you have actually retired and you had to pick out of your time in F1. What would be your choice moments?
I would say that my victories at McLaren, on average, have been better, more challenging, so more rewarding. So Spa for me is probably my best victory. A dominant weekend. Suzuka, because I absolutely loved that place. It was very emotional. It was after they had the devastation there. So that was a really emotional victory, finishing just in front of Fernando and Sebastian Vettel. And then you have the Canada win, 2011, which is the longest race in history, and everything went wrong. and I won it on the last lap of the race.
I put a little bet on the fact that in a few more years' time you'll be sitting here where I am interviewing another driver that's coming up through the ranks. Gents, it's been absolutely fabulous talking to you.
Thank you very much.
And all the best for the whatever's left of the career.
Thank you.
If you had £1 to put it on a return or not a return in 2018, which way would you bet?
I'd keep my pound.
Of course you would.
Richer.
Of course you would. So the Scotsman. No, what do you think he'll? I mean, do you think he's really lined up for a return in 2018?
I really don't think he knows what, and I think it's a clever thing he's done. I think from McLaren's point of view, they've got somebody pretty safe sitting in the sidelines. Take a year out, refresh. If they want him back in the car, they can put him back in the car. You know, it depends if the sponsors want him as well. I think it comes down to Stoffel's a full package as well, doesn't it? It gives them that option. They think he is, but until you put him through all the paces of what Jensen's been through, him and Fernando work well together, don't they? And that's the bottom line of it. So Jensen will recharge. He'll enjoy his life. He's had 17 years of somebody dictating how his winter break's going to be, when he can go on holiday, when he can spend time with the people he wants to. So credit to him. You know, he's been a big influence in the sport, and but what's the biggest loss is for British Motorsport.
Yeah.
You know, losing him, and it could only theoretically be Lewis left next year. So yeah, we'll see.
We will indeed. 8 runnings, as I've mentioned, of the Singapore Grand Prix, and 3 multiple winners.
The first ever Formula One night race is go! Oh, big crash! That's Nelson Piquet. Alonso will just go bing bang bong and straight up into the lead of the Grand Prix.
Bravo! Bravo! E vai!
Well done, guys. Well done. Super car all weekend.
The man of the moment has the momentum as well for the championship. It's another win for Alonso. Ferrari win again. Lewis Hamilton coming round the final corner. He started on pole and he's taken the checkered flag. Lewis Hamilton wins for McLaren in Singapore.
Away goes Lewis Hamilton. Rosberg stranded. Winner in 2009, in 2014 it's the win, and it's the championship lead for Lewis Hamilton under the spotlight in Singapore.
It does increasingly appear to be in a class of one.
Fantastic, Seb, brilliant drive. You're 1 point away from achieving the title.
It could be one of the longest celebrations that Sebastian Vettel's had in a while, because round the final corner he comes now to close down Alonso's lead and to win for the 2nd year running here in Singapore. There's now flames coming out of the back of Mark Webber's Red Bull as Sebastian Vettel makes it 3 wins on the bounce in 2013 and a hat-trick of wins in Singapore. Look at the lead that Sebastian Vettel's got so far. What is this? Just a man going for a stroll, and Ferrari are going to have a night of it here in Singapore.
So Vettel with 4 wins in the last 5 races. It's Hamilton that leads the championship, 2 clear of Rosberg. Ricciardo is 40 clear of his teammate, and there's not too many to choose from between the Ferrari drivers right now. As you can see there, inside the top 10, both the Williams and Force India drivers, and that has been reflected in the Constructors' Championship. Real battle going on for both 2nd and 4th, with Williams going ahead of Force India last time out in Monza. Just 3 points separating them. As promised, let's hear from those Mercedes drivers. Rachel has managed to grab hold of them both.
Hi, Lewis. Lewis, first of all, have they identified what the problem was yet with your car?
Yep, they fixed it already. So.
Was it connected to, you said in the first session you had a hot ankle and then it was hot on the right-hand side in the second session?
No,
separate?
No, some valve. They fixed it. It's a small thing.
So that's all sorted as well?
I believe so, yeah. It wasn't a problem later on in the session. So.
How much of a concern is it missing out on that running for you?
Not really. This is another Friday. In all honesty, Fridays are kind of... It's a Friday. I mean, you know, it's a day at which... Fortunately, there's 2 cars, so at least one car gets, as long as one car gets all the information, and that's all that's really needed.
Just finally from me, this time last year on the Friday, you guys knew, or the team knew, it could be a pretty difficult weekend for you. So what's the feeling tonight? Is it very different?
I don't remember what it was like here, what I felt here last year, but for sure we're in a much different position because we are quick. It looks like it could be close between the Ferraris and us, but I think we're looking good.
Nico, first of all, can I ask you what happened in FP1? Was it just a lock-up into turn 18?
It wasn't me. It was someone else. No, I'm just kidding. You didn't know what to say there.
I was thinking for a minute if I got that completely wrong.
No, just brake too deep and locked up, and that's it. No, and then in general the day has been okay. You know, it's been a decent start to the weekend. Maybe we learned a few lessons from last year, but early days, because even last year on Friday we were looking okay, and then come Saturday we were nowhere. So let's wait and see, and definitely need to keep on working, getting the most out of it tonight for tomorrow, and hope that's going to be enough to give Red Bull and Ferrari a run for their money, because here for sure is their best track.
It's quite a statistic, poles to wins here, so how important is it going to be to get pole here tomorrow?
It will be definitely important, yes, even though we've seen in recent races that it's not the most crucial thing, but definitely that's what I'll try and aim for, yeah.
And in terms of the competition, Ferrari or Red Bull look like possibly holding a little bit back today. Do you think they're your main challenge tomorrow, or do you think it's still Ferrari?
Well, we can see what they're doing, you know, and for sure they were quick today, both Red Bull and Ferrari also in the long run, so we still have work to do.
I know from experience that there is a man from GQ Fashion magazine in Australia here in the paddock, and I'm just wondering actually whether we'll have got a photograph of that and whether that would be a fashion hit or miss.
Well, Lewis obviously thinks it's a fashion hit.
I would say of the shots that I've seen him on,
different?
I think he might not get away with that one, whereas when I was photographed, I think it could be a hit. Who knows? Who knows? Let's hear from Sergio Perez. Sat down with Rachel last night.
Is your target still to drive for Ferrari?
Obviously, Ferrari is the biggest team in Formula One. It's a dream for every driver, and I just hope that if the opportunity comes, it can be at the right time, at the right moment. You know, not like last time. It's so important for a racing career, for a driver, that the opportunity comes at the right time, right moment.
So do you think then staying with Force India for another season is a better option for you to get that Ferrari seat than maybe risking going to a works team that's
I'm not taking my decision based on or thinking on what Ferrari might do, you know. I'm taking my decision because I believe that's the best for my career point of view, and whatever happens next or what comes next, it will be good, but at the moment, I'm not basing my decision on that. I'm basing on my decision on I believe in the team. I believe that we can move up, and that I see good potential in the team. So that's why I want to stay.
That fourth place in the constructors, how much would it mean to Force India to get that this year?
It will mean so much. You know, it's like winning the world title for us. Being able to secure that fourth place, beat Williams. And not only Williams, if you look all the teams that are behind, it's a massive boost for the team. And I want to be part of that history, you know, because that will be, if we manage to secure that, that will be history for this team.
That is going to be intriguing to see how that pans out over the next 7 races. We've put together this, which we are thinking is the potential driver lineup, and those in yellow very much TBC. Looking down, Stroll in at Williams, Perez staying at Force India, Gasly perhaps coming in for Fiat, Leclerc into Haas instead of Gutierrez, Ocon making the move from Manor to Renault, and does Nasser stay or does he go from Sauber? Do you think, in particular at Williams, we might be barking up the right tree?
Well, it's all speculation, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Lance is obviously part of the Williams team, so you know as much as I do.
Is he good enough to stroll into the Williams team? I'm sorry, I want to get that pun in now.
Very well thought about, Crofty, very well thought about.
Works on these for days,
I do,
before you come in.
Minutes even.
That empty seat at Manor, though, is that me?
Well, it could be the way you've been progressing, Rachel, I think. But in all seriousness, actually, there does look like there could be a gap there if Ocon moves on. Would you say? I mean, I think from talking to a lot of people, they're very, very impressed at Renault by Ocon. They have been for a while.
Yeah, he's come with good pedigree. He's come right through the whole system, you know. And I think being French as well, getting a young French driver that's just about to turn 20 tomorrow. He's got 15, 16 years ahead of him that Renault could really maximise. So they could have the dream history, couldn't they, on what Rosberg is to Mercedes, I suppose, the German guy and the German manufacturer.
Important for him, though, that he establishes himself ahead of Wehrlein in the remaining 7 races this season. It's good to have a reputation, Paul, but you've got to deliver when you're given the opportunity.
You have, and all eyes are on that battle. We've said that when that battle started, and this is probably the weekend that's been fairest to judge them, because they both haven't driven here, and I think Ocon should be up to speed after 2 Grand Prix weekends now to put the attack on and not have any kind of, you know, Wehrlein's got more experience. This is a new challenge.
Big weekend all over the grid, I think, this weekend.
Absolutely. Did you get photographed by the GQ fashion photographer?
No, did you?
I did, actually, yeah. I don't want to talk about it, but I did.
What were they looking for?
I don't know what it was, but I think it's either going to be the worst dressed, but I think it was this that he didn't notice. This, I've got,
yeah.
White socks.
That's shocking.
And dirty trainers. Why did I get a photograph? Anyway, good. Right, that's about us. Let's tell you about the details for the rest of the weekend. God. Qualifying is from 1 on Saturday. On Sunday, we'll be back on air from 11:30 with lights out at 1. We're off to get a nasi goreng. Goodbye.